People always ask all these damn questions. People always ask all these damn questions. All these damn questions. People always ask all these damn questions.
People always asking me all these damn questions, and they so confused. I don't know what to tell them. Why he do this? Why he do that? How you do this? How you do that? Hell yeah, I'm trying to do what I want, and I get good grades. That's why I wear these hats with A's. These people recognize that's why they stay up in my face. Cause
people always ask me all these damn questions. People always ask all these damn questions.
They wanna know my play-by-play. They wanna know just where I stay. They wanna know who the fuck is KJ. Yeah, it's me in the flesh. I'm not gonna say I'm the best, but your best bet is probably bump me in your deck. Cause I'ma murder this beat. Turn around and sell it like it's herb in the street. You want advice, you should be turning to me. Now you never hear me say that I'm a gangster, but I will do. Yeah, so hallelujah, hallelujah. My state like a trooper, I tell my interviewers, and that's a promise, not a threat. Where's your climate? Must have sent the next question that they asking me. I tell them lava, who you know how to. I hear the haters blasphemy. You keep bashing me, trashing me, ain't no cracking me, cuz all is asking, actually it ain't no tracking me. Now, I'ma say this shit now, cause I know you can't relate. You trying to hop up on my dick before you know it's too late. That's why these people always asking all these damn questions, and they so confused. I don't know what to tell them. Why he do this? Why he do that? How you do this? How you do that? Hell yeah, I'm trying to do what I want, and I get good grades. That's why I wear these hats with A's. These people recognize that's why they stay up in my face.
People always ask all these damn questions.
They wanna know my blow by blow. They wanna know just how I roll like off-roads with 4x4s. Just the way it is, just the way it goes. One example where here it go. Man, I dropped a chick because of toe. She said you ain't gon' fuck my beat. He can have you, cause show ain't me. Man, this chick must be crazy, trying to play me with pussy. Man, sometimes that's how it be. I'ma tell you like a nigga told me. You ain't gotta fuck everything you see, but you know I keep a couple freaks in my reserve. I'm not gonna call them my herd. I might just call them a pack. Matter of fact, I'ma call them leaders. They got their Vans on and they looking like sneakers. I be wearing J's, but I get much deeper. Listen to my words in this funk coming through your speaker. They telling me to speak up, cause I got a couple plans. You should already know that they say that I'm the man. When the shit come out my mouth, you know I'm cooler than the fan. Man, I'm doing what I gotta, plus I do what I can. So what you saying?
People always ask.
Okay. What's up? Objectively aggressive. And so what we're talking about today is whatever I want. It's just me. And I think this is the first time I'm able to actually come through by myself and kind of deliver my own message. And so this is me, Calvin, owner of OA, which is objectively aesthetic, objectively aggressive, and objectively honorare. And that is OA. And so one of the things I wanted to get into first off in my podcast is there's so much stuff that I want to talk about. There's only so much time. So this is where I start talking and I just let it go. And so normally the way my show starts is I start with a sweet serenade. And my sweet serenade is to White Lives Matter. Should be inferred, right? You know, there's something I want to watch. And I just want to share a couple of things real quick. Something that was shown to me. And I want to share with y'all. I just want to see what you think. So we're gonna watch something for a second. I'm gonna share my screen.
God forbid you wear a t-shirt that says White Lives Matter. Wore this for his Easy Season 9 fashion show here in Paris. And people are upset. They're very upset about that. They're going, why on earth? How could you? How dare you wear this shirt? How dare you make a mockery of the BLM movement? In addition to this, in case you missed it on Kanye West's Instagram page, he wrote this: everyone knows that Black Lives Matter was a scam. Now it's over. You're welcome. That is the only response, or the only thing that he has said publicly about wearing the t-shirt. And you obviously know, if you're watching this, where I stand on the Black Lives Matter movement. In fact, I'm doing an entire documentary to expose the fraudulent nature of that movement and the organization that stood behind it. And then,
okay, so this is where I'm gonna pause before we go anywhere, because I like to dissect things from, we would say, the rooter to the tutor. And so, you know, I'm not going to throw rocks, but if I'm going to listen to this, I'm going to say, why is there a beef between BLM and Kanye West and Candace? There's obviously a beef between them. If we don't just recognize that, first off, there's a beef between BLM and Kanye and Candace. First off, continue.
Benefited billions and billions of dollars because they elicited Black grief. They sold Black people a concept of their oppression. They used poorer Black Americans as a marketing firm for their organization. And where did that money go? Well, certainly not to Black America. So I had this wonderful thing this morning, this wonderful experience, and I'll tell you why it was wonderful. I had breakfast with Ye at his hotel, and it was wonderful because it was one of those moments where I realized how far I've come from where I was. The first time that I ever came to Paris, ironically, I was having breakfast with a woman whose family I worked for, and she was so awful to me. And I'll never forget this moment because it almost ruined Paris for me. It was a wealthy woman who told me, as we sat in her hotel, which was the George Cinq Hotel, she said, Candace, a girl like you shouldn't even be here. Look how expensive the omelet is that you're eating. Do you see how expensive it is? An omelet is $35. A girl like you can't afford this hotel, or you can't afford to stay here. And I remember I was so upset that when I left that breakfast, I was crying because I was so angry that anybody had spoken to me like that. And fast forward, I guess, more than 10 years now, and I am sitting at a hotel with having an omelet, by the way, with Ye West, and we are just...
Okay, cool. So again, quick breakdown. We're talking about a Black privileged woman who found herself in a situation where she was talked down to, and her privilege was exposed for what it is. And we can't take anything away from her with that. So I understand that. And now she's talking to Ye. It's a different time for you. You're talking to Kanye in Paris on your own dime. Respect, right?
Are discussing the internet, which we just broke over this t-shirt. And I just started jotting down some things that he was saying, because he was actually giving an interview to another magazine. And he said, I perform for an audience of one. And that
means that's good. You don't care about what other people think, but you also don't take into consideration how other people see you. I got it.
It's God. I loved that statement, so I wrote it down. He also said, quote, utopia is possible for not who we are being led by. I'm going to say that again. Utopia is possible for not who we are being led by.
Okay, so I wrote that down. I perform for an audience of one. God. Okay. Utopia is possible for it not to we are it being led by. Hey, I can't even repeat it, but I get what you're saying. You're trying to do your thing and not have anybody judge you and just do what you want. Got it, Kanye? Got it.
Which, of course, leads me to think about Black Lives Matter again, and these people.
And there's Black Lives Matter. So I'm going to speed this up for a second because it's so much.
Black Lives Matter. If Black Lives Matter, then some of these things that we have been talking about on this show, things I've been talking about throughout my entire political career, would be getting attention, not the t-shirt, right? Not the t-shirt, but these actual statistics that matter. And here are just a few of them. 117,626 Black children were killed by surgical abortion in the United States in 2018, right? Those are recent statistics. Just so we are clear, abortion in America has contributed to the greatest decline in Black population since the first Black slaves arrived. You will hear people often talk about lynching. It's just like a new thing. They like neoliberalism. They can talk about lynching and they compare everything to lynchings. It's just like being lynched. Well, for your reference, you should know that 4,467 people in the United States were victims of lynchings from 1883 to 1941. 3,265 of those people were Black. And you keep talking about lynching as this horrific thing that's happened in the past, right? And yet when you say to people today that 20 million Black infants were aborted, they don't even blink an eye. They don't even bat an eyelash. No, less than batting an eyelash. They tell those same Black people that they need to be outraged when a Planned Parenthood clinic shuts down. 20 million. When you talk about people that are killed in the millions, when you talk about the Jewish Holocaust, when you talk about the Rwandan Holocaust, people are, oh my gosh, oh my, this is horrible, of course, because it is horrible. But for whatever reason, since we have convinced ourselves to genocide our own offspring, nobody cares. Nobody cares.
All right. And I think that's where I'm going to come to my complete pause. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen on that one. And I'm going to jump back to what I was talking about. All right, so let's get into this aggressively. At the end of the day, how about we say this? How about Candace is not wrong by pointing out we as a culture, and I quote, abortion, trained to do it, not raise kids properly if they made it past abortion, Black on Black crime from the lack of, self-reverence. There's a lot of self-hate. And the music that puts it all on record and puts the cycle on repeat. Okay. Without throwing stones, I think there's a beef between BLM, Kanye, Candace, something bigger. I'm addressing it. Yes, that's what's happening. I played the video. You just want attention. Kanye wants attention. That's fine. I gave him a little bit. I actually wanted to say more, but it's all there. I don't know if the statistics are even as current, even if they are. There are things that happen inside the community. There are ways that it's looked at outside of the community. Inside, outside. All right, cool. So as we move on from that, my confident opinion, everybody has an opinion. And so whether Candace is right or wrong, she's making an attempt to try to do something inside of this community that we live in. Good for you. I posted something that says you can either do nothing, say something, do something. My confident opinion is that most people are all about talk. I'm gonna leave it there. Most people are all about talk. And when it comes to walking stuff out, people don't know how to do that shit. Like, talk is cheap and it's affordable, like all day, every day. I don't care what anybody says. Talk is cheap and it's affordable. So my confident opinion is that at the end of the day, what she's talking about, Candace, is very low vibrational because of how it's coming across. But I think the idea that she's talking is a privileged Black person, not on the outside, but wanting to experience something more by in her story, telling us that she felt some type of way the first time that she was in Paris. And I can recognize the chip on the shoulder. I got one right now. And so that's my confident opinion on that. Oh man. So I was talking about the difference. What's the difference between loyalty and fealty? We talked about this, but I'm gonna dig into it by myself because I'm starting to find that this fealty and loyalty thing is is getting on my nerves because I keep hearing loyalty, loyalty, loyalty. I keep yelling, make love logical, which means that love makes no sense and it's all driven by emotions. And we end up finding ourselves in these places. Oh my God. We find ourselves in these places that love is pretty much dictating everything that we're doing, but we're not doing it logically. So what I wanted to do is I'm gonna share screen again here. And I wanna talk about the different types of love real quick. And so as I talk about the different types of love, we talk about eros, passionate love, different types of love. People just yell love, but there are different types of love. Okay, we have pragma, enduring love, which is different than eros, because eros can fade. That's passionate love that can fade, and hopefully it transitions to pragma love. Ludus, playful love. Don't get serious, not full blown. People live like this. Universal love. I would like to think of this like reverence for all. Philia, deep friendship, like brotherly love, like Philadelphia. I'm not going to say this word, but it says self love there. Storage or storage, familiar love, mania, obsessive love, different types of love. And so, as I talk about the different types of love all the time and making it logical, making love logical does come down to knowing the different types of love. Also, knowing the type of love that you want, meaning love languages, hell, even appreciation languages, because they both apply. Understanding how you love and understanding how other people love makes it make sense on making love logical because things could probably line up and you can understand the difference between being passionately in love with somebody or it being just some sort of universal love. Because I have universal love. That's what I have. That's what reverence is. That's what adorare is. Reverence. We throw love around like it's nothing. I don't. I say it, and I don't always say it. We should really understand that. So this means nothing and everything at the same time, but I got a calculated explanation. I feel, and I put on record, I know it's dim or whatever because I just jump on here. I feel that I have something to say aggressively about love and relationships. That's not to say that I know it the best. That's not to say that I know it better than anybody else. So listen to me and screw everybody else. But let's just to say that objectively aggressive for me is the voice, and the voice being logic, passion, and credibility. My credibility about speaking on relationships lies in the fact that I've been married, um, I've been divorced, tried again, didn't make it all the way there, had relationships, raised a daughter, been in the military, had random different types of experiences. And when I say random, I mean random, like you never know who you're gonna love and for how long that is. And so I feel like I can speak on these topics and I would love to speak about them. And I'm going to on multiple different topics, but I'm going to speak about love. Now I'm not trying to replace anybody, but I am just trying to give perspective. No pressure, just perspective. And so with that, I'm coming up on my 20 minutes and I wanted to make this a little short. And so my money tip, I talked about investing. And when it comes to investing in index funds, pretty low level. But when it comes to gambling, I feel like things like QQQ in the stock market for lay people is something that instead of spending $500 on whatever, you can put that in an index fund or something similar to QQQ, and it can try to make you money. And if you lose money, it's just like gambling, but you're trying to find ways to stabilize, the income. And so I have a book um, called Talking to Strangers, Malcolm Gladwell. And I think this is a good book because it helps us understand that we never know who we're talking to at the moment we're talking to them. Hell, even if you know the person, it could easily be mistaken that they're of a different disposition. And so understanding that talking to strangers happens every day, even if you're talking to somebody you know. So take the time to wait, words, action, intention, timing, be kind, keep intentions noble daily. That's it. Here on Objectively Aggressive for today. I hope everyone is well, and I hope you are not only surviving, I hope you are thriving. Remember here on Aggressively Objective, which is always backwards for Objectively Aggressive, negotiation or annihilation. Do what you got to do.